Did Adam and Eve actually eat an apple? I mean, why do we even think that they ate apples as the forbidden fruit in the first place? And if it's not an apple, what can it really be? But more about that in a moment. Well, the Bible is very specific in that it's very unspecific. It just says fruit. So why apples? The original word in Hebrew is peri. Peri can be any fruit from figs, olives, apricots, grapefruit, and of course pomegranates, although they do seem a little evil. Part of this is due to a guy called Saint Jerome. In the 4th century, he was commissioned to translate the Bible, along with this to translate the word peri into Latin. It took him 15 years. No, not just that one word. Translating this word peri, Saint Jerome was a little clever and made a joke. And like all the best jokes, he did it in Latin. He used the word malice. Malice means both apple and evil, depending on how you use it in a sentence. Now, to complicate matters in St. Jerome's time, malice could mean any fleshy seed-bearing fruit, which brings us back to figs, peaches, and dodgy pomegranates. In the 16th century, Michelangelo painted Adam and Eve with a fig tree, but as malice could mean any type of fruit at this stage, it's not really surprising. One of the reasons that seeded the forbidden fruit to be an apple was mostly the work of John Milton. It was in the 17th century that his famous poems created words that we enjoy today, like fragrance, enjoyable, sensuous, and he was the original to come up with the word unoriginal. Now, he wrote a poem about paradise lost, which of course is telling the story of Adam and Eve and man's fall from grace by, you guessed it, an apple. It was unclear if John Milton was saying it was actually an apple or just going with a clever Latin pun, and it was just fruit. However, later in history, readers of the poem would feel that it was just very clear that it was an apple as we know it. But 100 years before this, in the 16th century, Lucas Cranach the Elder completed an oil painting depicting Adam and Eve clearly under an apple tree. Although I don't know what's up with Eve having, 2 left hands. But fast forward to now, and the poor humble apple is being cast as the forbidden fruit. So if the apple isn't the forbidden fruit, what could it really be? Some say the grape Noah after the flood was trying to grow and ferment the fruit to rectify the sin of Adam by using a grape wine for holy purposes. But that doesn't seem enough evidence. The Bible does seem to allude to the fruit being a fig, as Adam and Eve had made their own fig leaf clothing. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves coverings. So figs seem to be a good second place to the apple, if not only by Michelangelo in his paintings. Even wheat has been suggested. In Hebrew, wheat is ketar, which has been considered to be a pun on ket, meaning sin. What is it with all of these puns? Back in the 13th century, a fresco in France, it depicts Adam and Eve under a tree of knowledge that has the appearance of a gigantic Amanita muscaria, which is a psychoactive mushroom. Don't know why. Why? In the 16th century, it was even considered common knowledge in Syria and Egypt that the apple of Eden was the banana. There is a theory that the Garden of Eden was located somewhere in what we now know as the Middle East, and that suggests that the fruit was actually a pomegranate. And this is where it comes to my theory of what it actually is. Genesis 1:29. Then God said, "Behold, I have given you every seed-bearing fruit on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit contains seed. They will be yours for food." All of them. So it is most likely that this fruit was the only one of its kind, and it isn't around anymore. There is also something even more interesting. I know this is still speculation, but it does seem more logical that the forbidden fruit wouldn't have had seeds. If you were God and put a forbidden tree in it, you wouldn't want this fruit spreading more seeds and growing everywhere. Our humble apple friend is not the forbidden fruit, and most likely any other fruit that we know. Go do something awesome for God, and I'll catch you in the next one.